Okay, and welcome back to the channel today. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at a GR4 race, sorry, at Willow Springs. I'm driving the BMW M4, starting from pole position. This was an intense race, a really good fun race all the way to the end. Loads of people on different strategies. One very similar strategy to myself in third place, but slightly different laps, and second place on a total different strategy. So we're going to start the action, obviously getting away nice and clean from the start. Most of the drivers through that corner fairly clean. Doesn't appear to be any change in positions in the top 8, as you can see there on the left. So all got away reasonably clean, which is nice to see. Going through these corners now, I just wanted to try and keep it clean. I decided to do this. My strategy for this was going flat out, leaving the power on 1, and going flat out all the way through the laps, and just pitting and then fueling up and then going flat out. I decided on this one to go for a pretty much halfway split. I didn't decide to go like I did on Nürburgring, where I did the extra lap to shorten my stint at the end. I just went and split it 50-50. We're going to see if that's the right or wrong decision. You'll see it at the end. Really fun races. You can see there at the moment we've got Speed Nuts in second place, M Patrol in third place. We're just holding this position at the moment, and we've got a reasonable gap, but the guy in second place is driving the TT Cup, which in a straight line has a lot of speed compared to the M4. You're going to see it as soon as we get to the straights. I'm looking in my mirror straight away there, judging where I can go, because obviously I haven't got the mirror at the top of my screen to see where people are. I'm just constantly looking back to see if I need to defend. I don't feel I need to defend there. You can see I turn in, and he did a bit of a dive bomb there. You can see he actually hit me, but I just about saved it and stopped myself running wide. Wasn't too impressed with that move, but I feel he realised he was in the wrong and backed out of it. But you can see there, M Patrol obviously didn't want to play back out, because he had no reason to really. He didn't make a mistake, so he attacked me on the inside, but I managed to defend that. And we've got 3 cars so close at the moment now, and we're going to just try and keep our position into these corners. As long as I can get through this little section in first place, I know I can get this corner here reasonably well done. And I actually tried to take a bit too much off the grass there, you can see, and second place right behind us again, which is really not what you want. That Lamborghini Hurricane, another really fast car in the straight lines. I'm really going to have to start considering which car I drive for the races, because it might sometimes be better to drive a car that might not be on an ultimate lap as fast as the M4, but overall in a race situation they're probably faster, these TT Cups and the Hurricane. This is a track that I only just learnt it on the day I was driving it, because I've never really driven it on any game. It wasn't a track I drove on Project Cars. It's not a track I particularly enjoy in terms of the visuals of it. It's fairly bland. I'm not a massive fan of the track in terms of visuals, but the actual layout is actually okay and quite fun once you get used to it. As you can see, they're defending again into that tight corner. We're nearly 3 wide. M Patrol goes to the far left hand side. I'm on the middle of the track, and on the inside, sorry, and is it Spread Nuts? Sorry, I thought it was Speed Nuts, but it's actually Spread Nuts is into first place now, and I'm in second place. So now I've got to try and get onto his back of his car and use the slipstream. Obviously the slipstream's quite strong on this game. I'm not sure whether it's on real or slightly stronger for these races. I presume it's real, but obviously I got a better exit out of that corner than the guy in front, so this meant I could get really on his tail through this corner here now. So again, I got quite a nice exit on that corner, and I've put myself in a really good position now. You can see the slipstream, I'm right into that slipstream, so I wanted to get over to the right hand side, but I didn't want him to think I was going to do it, so I got myself right at the last minute onto that right hand side, on the inside line, just keeping it tight to that inside. We're on the right hand side, and you see on that top right hand corner on the replay, it's extremely close. So I managed to get myself back into first place there, but I've got to try and make sure I take this corner right now, which is quite hard coming from that tight line. It's a corner I've really struggled on while trying to learn the track, the final corner. It's a corner that I tend to be very hesitant on, so I need a little bit more practice to master that corner. You can see there, we've managed to get ourselves reasonable exit speed though from that last corner, even with that compromised entry into the corner. And we're still in first place, and you can see how close it is between first, second, third, and I think even fourth, fifth and sixth are only a matter of maybe a second or so behind third. So it's extremely close racing, and this is why I'm playing a lot of Gran Turismo at the moment, because the racing is this much fun. Fair enough, not every race you get into is as clean as fun as this, but this is the type of racing that you do get and that you can enjoy on the game, especially when you're in the top, the highest splits with the S-rated guys. This is just what I'd rather play this and enjoy racing like this than go on Project Cars 2, go into a public lobby and be 30 seconds ahead of anyone else, and then it's just not as fun, because I just don't find their rating system worthwhile. I find it pretty pointless, if I'm brutally honest, on Project Cars 2, because you can have a lobby and someone could have a really high rating because they just play with their friends all day, and they've allowed the rating system in their lobby, so he's beating their friends all the time, so he has a really high rating. You go into a lobby, he's in there, he's not that brilliant driver, you go in, and then it's just not fun. You're never going to get a lobby on Project Cars where the racing is this clean. As you can see there, the guy behind actually made a mistake on the final corner and decided to go in the pits, which is one thing I've done, so he's had to go in pits early at the end of lap 4, so that's a real compromise strategy, that. So his tyres will be worn out if he decides to change his tyres. I have the feeling that he didn't change his tyres, he just went for a strategy where he was just going to fuel up and get to the end on the same tyres. So we'll see how that plays out. I mean, it's very hard to see what, I mean, he might have actually changed his tyres, I'm not too sure. It's quite hard to tell, because obviously he would be gaining the advantage on the tyre grip through this lap that we're on now, but we would obviously have the advantage on the lower fuel level. So I think personally he didn't change his tyres, and that's why what's happened. You'll see what happens in a minute. As you can see now, the Lamborghini is so close behind us again. I'm looking in the mirror to go defensive. I'm going to have to go defensive, and I wanted to pit this lap. No, not sorry, I don't think it was this lap I wanted to pit. I think it was at the end of lap 6 I wanted to pit, which shows you how compromised the guy on driving the Audi TT Cup is. He's driving two shorter laps, which means his last stint is going to be really compromised. So he might have actually changed his tyres and done some really good laps on them tyres. I'm not too sure. It's going to be, I'm not too sure what he done. We'll have a look at how far ahead he came out when we come out the pits. As you can see, we managed to defend that first position and keep ourselves in the lead. Really enjoyable race. You can see now. This is why I'm just loving Gran Turismo at the moment. Not only do I like the handling, okay, it's not the most realistic handling, but it's not far off a simulation game. My braking points, everything braking, turning in is identical to games like iRacing. There's not much difference in terms of that, and even the grip levels. iRacing has a lot of grip in the GT3 cars, etc. So you can see there a back marker making a massive mistake on that corner, and that's one guy lapped. Obviously didn't know the track fully yet. I have to say, this was my first one. I think I only did about 2 clean races out of 4, because I kept making a mistake on that final corner, just clipping the edge of that left-hand tyre, and we were running wide. So it's a real tricky track to get used to. I'm sure once I'm more used to it, we'll have a lot more consistency. But this was my first ever drive on this track. Obviously, not my first race. I'd done a couple of races before. It's my first day driving this track, and it does take a fair bit of getting used to. So now we've got the Lamborghini right behind us, and we're going to see if he pits or if he stays out. We're going to pit this lap, so you can see there, he's right on our tail there, so I thought I'm going to pit now, and I expected him to follow me, to be honest, but he's decided to do that extra lap and try and come out, go in the pits after, obviously after me, and then try and come out ahead of me, but we'll see if that works. So we need to pit to 6 laps there. You can see I actually pitted to 5.8 because I'd worked out you don't actually need the full amount of to get to the end. You can see there we're on 5.9, but I must save a bit of fuel due to coasting through corners, etc., where I just, the style I run, so I had to put a little bit less fuel in. But you can see there, speed, spread nuts, or as he's called, is actually managed to get into a 4th position, I think it is there, yeah, 4th position, but he's technically in 1st. So he's gained a fair bit on us there, which makes me think he may have not changed his tyres. That's what I think personally, or he might have changed his tyres, and obviously he's had a lot of use of that grip for 2 laps. So it's possible that he might have just gained that 1.5 to 2 seconds, which he's ahead there just from the 2 laps on fresh tyres. Actually, I just don't know, but he's going to be suffering towards the end anyway. The last 2 laps for him are going to be probably a lot of trouble with them tyres. That old, and you can see there we actually made a mistake as well in this lap as well, coming out of the corner, which lost us a bit of time, which was a bit annoying. Maybe lost us half a second there, which we didn't want to lose, as we really needed to get after these guys up ahead of us. So you can see there M Patrol's in the pits now, the guy that was right behind us. So we're going to see where we come out now, going down the pit straight. You can see he's just coming out now, and we've managed to keep ahead of that guy there, and we've actually gained a little. Have we actually gained a bit? Yeah, we managed to gain a bit on him through pitting before. So it shows you the difference between tracks, whether it's best to pit first on the early or not. I just chose to pit halfway through. he chose to extend his tyre life. I found that the tyres were wearing out quite a lot on this track. That's why I didn't do that extra lap, because you do the extra lap and the tyres started to really fade as the back marker gets out the way there nice and cleanly, which actually makes a change, because I found a lot of back markers do not understand blue flags on this game, but thankfully that guy did. And you can see there I got a real loose end again coming out that corner. As you can see there, we're gaining time now on spread nuts, as he's clearly struggling with that tyre wear that he's now done, which is what, 2 laps, or this is his 3rd lap off, maybe 4th lap on the tyres, and times that by 9 will show you how many laps he's actually done on the tyres. That's what you've got to bear into mind when doing your strategy. Tyre wear is times 9, so 1 lap is like 9 laps, so that's what you really need to think about, and that's one of the reasons on this track why I chose not to pit and do like the later stage and do that extra lap. But it could hurt us at the end. I mean, this is a great race and a really enjoyable race. As you can see there, we've got Emperor Nuts. Let's just see how far behind us is. He's 1.5 seconds behind us, so we've got to try and overtake the guy in front of us and hold off Emperor Troll, who's going to have fresher tyres on us. When you think 1 lap is actually 9 laps, he's got much fresher tyres, and he's going to be able to really attack us, especially with the speed that Lamborghini Huracan has down the straights. And it's a very stable car. That I actually drove it. It's a really stable car. I need to get used to the car a bit more and see if I can use it for the races as well. Also the Audi the TT Cup, I need to try that out for the races, as I think I tried that as well on one of the licenses, and it's actually quite a nice car. But you can see now the difference in speed between ourselves and first. We are really starting to gain on him now, as he's starting to struggle with the tyre wear. You can see he's struggling through the corners. I'm not too sure if he's changed his tyres or not. I have a feeling he may not have changed his tyres in the pits, as you can just see how much time he's losing through the corners. And he actually held me up a bit through, I think, this corner now. I don't know if I made the move now, or did I just go? I think I actually just went for it into first place. Oh no, I backed out of that, which was a real shame, because that lost me out of such a lot of time, as you can see there. But he's actually ran wide coming out that corner where he's got no grip on them tyres, and I've put myself back into first place just about as he slips into our slipstream. And now we've basically got to just try and pull away before Emperor Troll gets past him. We've got to hope that Emperor Troll gets held up a bit by this guy in second place, as he's clearly struggling with them tyres. My view is that he didn't change them tyres in the pits. He tried to just fuel up and see if he could get himself out ahead of ourselves without changing the tyres, which was not a good move on this track. You really did need to pit and change your tyres. As you can see, Emperor Troll's right behind him now, and we've just got to try and pull up a little bit of a lead as we come through these corners now, where I've got the reasonably good tyres, and hope Emperor Troll gets held up. Looking at the replay camera, you can see Emperor Troll's looking to make a move there, and let's see if he gets past on that corner. He's not past that corner yet, so he's given us a little bit of an advantage pulling away now. You can see I'm managing to gain the time coming out of the corners, nearly a second ahead now. But I think Emperor Troll's going to make his move probably with the extra grip he'll have on them tyres. He's probably got past him pretty much on this straight now. Let's have a little look if we can pick it up on the replay camera. He's still not behind, but he'll probably make a move going into his final corner now. Let's see if he makes that move. So he's still not made that move. The guy, the TT Cubs, managed to hold him off. We've managed to stay the gap around the second. We didn't really gain as much as I would have liked through that corner. It's a corner I struggled on a lot, and Emperor Troll's now into second place. So we've got a second gap with 2 laps to go, and we've got to hold it off, considering we're really struggling at this stage, because our tyres have obviously done that extra lap. So I know that Emperor Troll's still in the slipstream there. He's able to pick the slipstream up when he's under a second away. So we're really going to be in a lot of trouble by the end of the race here now, as we're trying our best just to keep it clean, keep it tidy, and just keep the car on the track. So let's have a little look now. The distance now, see, it's still around. He's definitely gaining on me there. You can see it's very small amounts, but we made a little bit of an error on the exit of that corner there. Lost a little bit of time. This corner was starting to struggle with the tyre wear as well. Another corner that I was making a lot of mistakes with when I was practicing the track, but we managed to get it okay by the time now. And you can see going into the final lap, in the distance he is really closing in on us. Look at the slipstream, how much he's catching us on the straights with the power of that Lamborghini and the slipstream helping him out. And he seemed to be much better at the final corner. He seemed to be able to gain so much. Look at the amount he's gaining there. I'm going to have to go defensive, as you can see there, onto this corner. So I'm sticking myself to the left hand side. I don't want him to get the inside line for this corner, because I know that running the outside line through this corner's really risky. So I get back into the middle of the track, give myself an angle into the corner so I can still take it at reasonable speed, get myself over to the right hand side to take the inside line for this corner, knowing that you cannot go around the outside of someone on this corner. I go a little bit wide, but I managed to just keep the car on line where I want it to go, and then power out this corner. Just be careful not to run wide there. You can see just skimming the gravel on the left hand side, but that's okay. We managed to just keep ourselves in the lead now. Now going into these really tricky corners, I was just trying to keep the car clean without pushing the limits too much. I didn't want to make a mistake and push too hard. You see there the back end starting to lose grip on them rear tyres, and he's really pressuring us now. So going into this final long bit of power section now before the final corner, this is where I was really worried, because he's two 3/10 behind us, 2/10 behind us. So I'm going to have to go defensive into this right-hander, this long right-hander, which is all about keeping your foot down. You can see he's gone to the inside. I know he's. I don't know if I felt a little bit of a bump there. I'm not too sure. He managed to get on the inside, brakes late, and he's on the inside line. And there's not much I could do there. I tried to power my way through that corner just as much as I could, but we run wide, and that's it. We managed to come second in the end. I think the tyre wear that he had at the end was really favourable. The time I lost trying to overtake the TT Cup kind of lost me the chance of the win, but an overall brilliant race and really enjoyable. Hope you guys enjoyed that race, and I'll be back with more very soon. Thanks again for watching.